everybody on a Friday. All right, now back to some more serious stuff. A high school in New York State is now apologizing for having a student recite the Pledge of Allegiance in Arabic, saying the words, "One nation under Allah," the translation for God, when they did the address in Arabic. So Pine Bush High School says it was just part of a National Foreign Language Week. They didn't want so much attention, and they did the pledge in a different language every day. But the district received dozens of complaints from outraged war veterans.
I understand the school doing something like that as long as they were being loyal to the country, which is fine. On the other hand, there's a lot of things going on in the world, we know, with extremism and things like that. So I can see why some people would get upset about the situation.
Pretty smart lady. Leslie Marshall is syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. DeRoy Murdoch is a syndicated columnist and a Fox News contributor as well. Welcome to both of you.
Morning.
Leslie, I'm just not sure, when it's National Language Week, you can have the students do plenty of things in different languages. I'm not sure it was the brightest idea to have them do the Pledge of Allegiance in any language except English.
When we hear what the school was trying to do, and I understand what you're saying, Martha, but the premise was that even though we may come from different backgrounds, we may have different languages in our backgrounds or even spoken in our homes, we're all pledging allegiance to the same flag, one nation. We're all a part of this one nation. Under God. And quite frankly, that's really what the Pledge of Allegiance is about, is the freedom and is the unity for all of us in this melting pot. But again, these were all different languages, and I was really surprised at the outrage over this. I was very surprised about the outrage.
DeRoy, what do you think?
Well, I think given everything that's going on overseas, you've got ISIS, you've got people being beheaded, all this barbarism, much of it unfortunately being perpetrated by people who speak Arabic. I don't think it's a huge surprise when people hear this that you got this sort of response. Imagine we're 1944 and you had an exercise where some kid read the Pledge of Allegiance in German. People, I think, would not have been very happy. I think a much better exercise would have been to read the pledge in English, but have kids from different backgrounds talk about the fact that their families came from different parts of the world, what it means to them, what it means to their families, and then you could have different ethnicities celebrating one American culture. I think that would have been a much more positive approach.
I think the school probably wishes that they did it that way because they've gotten a lot of backlash from war veterans. And as you point out, it's great for children to learn all different languages. It's great for them to recognize that people come from all different countries and pledge allegiance to this country. But maybe you ought to keep the Pledge of Allegiance in English just to keep everybody on the same page.
Good idea.
All right, so let's take a look at this other story that comes out of Berkeley, which caught our attention, and we talked about it yesterday. The Black Student Union there wants to rename one of the campus buildings after Assata Shakur, who is also known as Joanne Chesimard, who was convicted of killing a New Jersey state trooper. She did time. She escaped prison. She has run to Cuba, where she has been living quite happily, by all reports, over the past many years. Leslie, this is a picture of the New Jersey state trooper whose life she took in that car that evening. Leslie, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I don't think that any building on any campus or off of any campus in the United States of America should be named by a convicted murderer, whether the victim is a police officer or not, first and foremost. Secondly, though, I was very surprised, and when you look into it, there are a lot of problems with race at the University of California, Berkeley. Who would have thought? And that there are those who feel disenfranchised, or they feel that they're outside the general population. But I think this demand is not only wrong, they have the right to make it, obviously. I feel it's unreasonable. Some of their demands, I feel, are unreasonable.
They may diminish their argument by going for the building name change, but it certainly got them a lot of attention. Let's take a look at some of the other things that they asked for at the Black Student Union in UC Berkeley. They want to rename the hall, as we just said, and let's bring up the rest of them here. They want a meeting place that is solely for Black students. They want 2 Black admissions officers to be hired, and they've outlined what the budget should be, and 2 Black psychologists as well. We talked about this yesterday, DeRoy, and a couple of people responded with the question, can you imagine if white students wanted to have a meeting room that was solely for white students? What's happening here?
It's remarkable. I mean, what they really want is segregated facilities. I thought the whole idea of the civil rights movement was to get away from this, not have black-only buildings, white-only spaces, etc., but have places where all of us as Americans or international people can get together and gather. And whatever empathy anybody might have for their cause, when you decide, hey, let's name the building after the first woman ever put on the FBI's most wanted list. I think there's a $2 million reward out for her arrest. Why not call it the Rosa Parks House or the Harriet Tubman House or maybe the Ella Fitzgerald House? These are very distinguished American women about whom there's no controversy, totally admirable lives. If they'd said, hey, let's name the building after one of those people, I think they would have had a lot more sympathy and a lot less acrimony.
Great points. All right, we're going to
them.
leave it there. Thank you very much. Leslie and DeRoy, great to see you both today. Thank you.
Thank you.